I wrote this episode after visiting the Adler Planetarium in Chicago, so thanks to everyone there for the inspiration. I call this episode So Small. Looking up at the stars at night can make us feel really small. On a particularly dark night, we can make out nearly 5,000 stars, and even a few distant galaxies without the aid of a telescope. It's estimated that there are somewhere around 100 billion stars in the Milky Way alone, and the number of galaxies is even larger than that. Scientists can't do much more than guess about the number of planets that exist, but that must also be a pretty big number. I won't run all of the stats past you right now, but needless to say, we are really, really small in the grand scheme of things. I get a similar feeling when I'm looking out at the ocean, when I'm part of a really big crowd, or when I think about the people who lived thousands of years ago. You can really put things in perspective when you consider that our planet is just one of the uncountable number of planets out there in space. That we are just one of the creatures that make up the millions of different species that live here on Earth, or that the time that we are living in is just a small blip over the course of human history. Thinking about those things might make us feel downright tiny and almost insignificant. Sometimes I get that same feeling when I think about my impact on my students. There is so much else out there to get kids' attention these days. I'm sure most of my students would rather listen to their friends in class compared to whatever I might be saying at the moment. Based on the completion rate of my very limited amount of homework, I'd say the same is true outside of the classroom. Sometimes even getting them to look at what I'm trying to show them can be a challenge with everything else that's happening on whichever screen happens to be in front of them at the moment. On top of that, social media is telling them that they're ugly, that science isn't real, that school is a waste of time, that the easiest way to be successful is being an influencer, that one or both political parties are trying to destroy the country, and that their individual worth can be determined by their number of followers, their number of likes, or by the comments section. Thinking about it can make me feel downright tiny and almost insignificant. We are tiny, but we are far from insignificant. Growing up, my dad used to always tell me about how the small things we do in life can have huge impacts on other people. A simple, kind gesture, while unremarkable to you, might be exactly what that other person needed at the moment. At the same time, the more I learn about history, the more I see how small decisions and random choices have shaped the fates of millions of people over and over again. We know that as a species, we have changed nearly every part of our planet for better or for worse, and we've already begun to explore beyond our own small blue dot. As teachers, we are not an insignificant part of our students' lives. Yes, we are competing against a whole lot of other noise, and we're not going to reach every student. But the small decisions and random choices we make in our classrooms can have effects that impact a much larger group of people than the ones sitting in our classroom right now. A simple, kind gesture, while unremarkable to us, might be exactly what a student needs at that moment, setting them up for bigger and better things in the future. The safe place that we provide right now might change a student's life for the better and give them a jumping off point for when they're ready to finally explore the world around them. We are small. Our planet is just a tiny little speck in a vast universe, and we are just one person on that tiny little speck. But we're a piece of something so much bigger. We are interconnected in ways we can only begin to imagine, and our impact will go further and last longer than we'll ever be able to recognize. We are so far from insignificant. Thank you for listening to this episode of Lessons We Forgot. I'm the host, Chris Winkle. You can contact me at lessonsweforgot@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with a friend. If you want to hear more Lessons We Forgot, we post new episodes on Sunday nights. I would be very grateful if you liked and subscribe to the show. That way, new episodes will show up automatically in your feed. And if you really want to support the podcast, give me a rating and a review and tell everyone what you enjoy most about it. If you really hate ads just like me, I do have a Patreon site, patreon.com/lessonsweforgot. For only $1 a month, you can get the show without ads. I'm offering a free trial right now, so you can go check it out and see if it's something you'd be interested in. Thanks again for your support.